here. Welcome back to Finish It Friday. Hope your week has went well. Mine has been okay, just okay. There were a few things that I touched this week that kind of turned to doo-doo, but overall, I did a lot of stuff. Hopefully, you saw the Wednesday video of the little spool wall hanging with the selvages. I did not take that off my wall to show you today because it's on there with push pins and I don't want to pry those out. So I'm just going to leave that where it is and trust that you'll go see the video to see what little doodad I made there. It turned out really, really cute, and I'm anxious to do another project with selvages. So there was that I got accomplished. I did do my Happy Days block. There's this block and some setting blocks that I haven't done yet that are applique, but I have the rest of this month to get that done. This did not turn out great. It did not square up right. It did not join right. I'm not happy with it. It's 4 pieces, and it had you square up these 4 pieces before you put them together. But that resulted in a really weird center. My other points are not terrible. I would be okay with those. But that center, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to ask for some more fabric and redo this. But I did do it as promised according to my schedule. But not happy with that. And the Stitch in Heaven block of the month. This is Happy Days, by the way. I'm noticing that they don't give you a lot of extra fabric. The Fat Quarter Shop ones, they give you a ton of fabric. You could almost make 2 blocks. As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to show you here. This is the finishing booklet that I have for the Nantucket Summer, which is a Fat Quarter Shop block of the month. That's winding up. I got all of the cutting done and marked. Now I just have to construct these blocks, and it's a series of log cabin blocks that includes a star and then some light colored star blocks on the corners. And then of course I have my 12 blocks that I've already finished throughout the year for the block of the month. So this took a long time to cut. Long time. Also, I did manage to work some on the duster. And there were some lessons learned on this. So last week you noticed that I had all the strips hanging back here. Well, there's many combination of those strips that you make that are sets of 6. So this is one set. This is set number 6. And then we're going to cut these down into squares and then rearrange them. And this is all in anticipation of putting the pattern pieces down and cutting out the pieces of the duster to construct it. Well, the pattern, and I did, I'm very good about reading patterns before I start and double, triple checking things before I cut or sew. And right at the very tip top here, it says, note, all seams are 1/2 inch. So when I went to sew my pieces together, I used a 1/2 inch seam allowance. But notice what it says right underneath that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says, unless otherwise stated. So I did my first set of those strips, and it says it should measure 36.5, and it was not 36.5. It was like 32 and something, 33 and something maybe. And I was like, I know I didn't mess up my seams that bad. So I went ahead and started on a second one. I don't know why it is that sometimes we think things are just going to automatically get better. Yeah. definitely a lesson learned. Don't continue if you have a doubt about something. So finally I came over and decided to read this again. And yes, in this paragraph it says, starting with set 1, place the first 2 prints right sides together, matching 2 long edges, and pin. Stitch a 1/4 inch seam down this long edge. That meant I had to rip all 6 of those, well, it would have been 5 seams from set 1, which I have yet to do. And then 2 seams of set 2, because I didn't stop when I had the doubt. I just kept going, thinking it was going to get better all on its own. How dumb is that? Don't they say if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, it's insanity? That's insanity. I went insane for a minute. So anyway, I have set number 1 I have to unpick. And this is the width of fabric 5 times. And then on set number 2, I have 2. And then I went on to set number 3, thinking, oh, I got it all right now. I know it's a 1/4 inch. Well, when I was working on the little wall hanging on Wednesday, I had the bright idea that I would just go ahead and make a little zigzag stitch over my binding. Well, yes, I took it off of zigzag on the little knob back to straight stitch, but I didn't mess with my needle position. So my needle position was off, like, I don't know what that is, a 30-second or something. One little click. And so when I made that third one, it still wasn't measuring out widthwise to be 36.5. And I was sewing along and I was like, I know I'm not making these seams too wide. I measured them. I even got like a little ruler out to measure the seam that I just sewed. And it was it wasn't a 1/4 inch. Or was it? No, it couldn't have been a 1/4 inch. But it wasn't coming out. The whole 36.5 still wasn't happening. I was off like a 1/2 inch. That's when I discovered the needle position was off just a little bit. So that means I have to unstitch all of set 2, and I already unstitched the set 3 as far as I got with that needle position being off. And I'm happy to report that set 4, 5, and 6 are fine. So half of them are okay. I don't have to unsew and resew. So that's where I got on the duster this week. All of that to say, that's where I'm at on the duster. Crazy. Okay, let's see what you guys have done this week. I've got some good stuff in. Okay, the first one that I have is from Ernest. Ernest finished his Yellowstone quilt. Here it is. It says, does the red look familiar to viewers? It should. Could be because I sent him some red and I had that red in my red and white quilt. Is that what you mean, Ernest? The gray is from Northcott's Canvas line. And then he's gonna give us here a little play-by-play, day-by-day, what he did. Tuesday, he cut the fabric and started the 9 patches. Wednesday, he finished the 9 patches and cut the gray fabric and constructed the top. Thursday, day off, didn't do anything. Friday, based, quilt, bind, done. It will be an anniversary gift. The recipients' names are in the quilting. He always does that. And it's 53 by 61. So yeah, basically 3 days. Within 4 days, he's got this entire quilt done. Now, I do have all 50. He did 42 here of those 9 patches. I did 56. And my gray fabric came in today. So I am anxious to get back on that little project and get that together. And he used a gray backing as well there. So there you go. You think he's fast getting something done in a couple of weeks? He can do it in 3 days. I told him that's not normal. Alright, here's one from Sally. She said, I made this little baby quilt for a friend whose granddaughter is going to have open heart surgery on June 19th. She is 4 months old, but only weighs 8 pounds. I had some fat quarters and some pink fabric and was able to quickly put this together for this precious little girl. Aw, sweet story. I love that. I love the pink fabrics. Your quilting design you chose is perfect. Little flowers and leaves and swirls. Love that, Sally. And then Julie, she's the one that quilted Ernest's Star Wars quilt. She got busy. She has a long arm, and she got busy in her sewing room this past weekend and just really put the pedal to the metal. She's got a whole bunch of quilts done. She sent me 2 of them. One of them from before that she didn't send was the cactus quilt that I showed you last week. And then this red one here is the 3rd one that she did. I forget what the first one was. It's kind of like a jelly roll race. And it's got that big dot fabric on the back. I'm pretty sure that was for her daughter's boyfriend. And then this blue one with the sunflowers is for her daughter. And so she quilted that up. I love that ombre. I guess that's ombre fabric. And how you did the configuration of the sunflowers there is just really neat. I love that. And I think she said that her daughter loves sunflowers, and she's had this material for a long time and finally made her something out of it. Love those. Great job as usual, Julie. And then Joy made a table topper using the cactus pot pattern. That's really cute with your green and black and white. And the green fabric is actually cactus fabric. It's those little hen and chicks type of cactus, I think. Very cute. Made a very nice little table mat. And she's got black and white dot on the back. And then Pam, she did a 3 yard quilt. She said pattern is It's a Snap from Fabric Cafe book. Pretty darn quick. The photo looks a bit dark. In person, the floral pattern is on a raspberry and pink background. It's a wonderful and super fast pattern to piece. And I love the fabric choices that she made for that. That grunge, that's one of my all-time favorite grunges right there. With it has that, it's aqua and it has that yellow and white in it. Very pretty. And all those colors are in your darker fabric. Looks very nice. And I like how you put the border of the darker fabric around the edge too. Very good job. I love that. And then Victoria has one. This was, she says, I was inspired by your Pat Sloan's March Block a Day quilt in black and white. Remember that one? I, however, got my 4 patches turned the wrong way and didn't notice until I had several blocks together. I like this design too, but we'll probably try the other pattern as well. And she made it a little bigger. So normally the black would go kind of inward and make these, you know, they would cross and make these squares. But she's got hers going all diagonally, which is fine. I do see you have one turned. You have 2, it's like a 2 of your black squares is turned. I don't know if you noticed that, Victoria, but that's fine. That's one of those happy little mistakes that, you know, are supposed to be in quilts. We all have them, don't we? But I wouldn't change it. I would leave it like that. Good job. And Mary. Mary is a friend of mine who lives in Kentucky, and she has a long arm, and she has a long arming business, and she's showing me some of the things that she has done, and we will be talking, Mary. She says, I'm including some finishes for you. Choose one, use them all, or divide them up, or don't use any, whatever you want. She's just glad to have finally sent them, but I'm going to show them all. This one here with the red border and the big giant star in the middle. She says it's a pattern by Cozy Quilt Designs and pieced with scrap fabric. It's 120 by 120. Piecing and Larmont Quilting by me. And her business is called Broken Dishes Quilting Company. The second one is the Magnolia pattern by Chelsea Stratton Designs. I'd like to do that pattern sometime. I really would. It's 74 by 74, and she pieced and quilted that. And then the last one is a Farmer's Stars pattern by Sobeka, and it is a wall hanging size of 40 by 40, and she pieced and long armed it. And I'm sure we'll be seeing some more from Mary now that she's got her long arm up and running, and I got her business started, and we'll have plenty to share with us. So thank you, Mary, for sending your work in. It's looking fabulous. Okay, so that's what we have for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble on about my musings here in the she shed. And I'm just going to plug along. So far this week, I have not gotten to the promised Harriet's Journey block I was going to do, nor the Barn Star Sampler. So I have those two things to look at for today and tomorrow and maybe Sunday. And then we will be back here on Monday to chat all things quilty for Monday Quilt Chat. So have a great weekend and do something in your sewing room this weekend if you can. And we'll see you soon. Bye.